What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. We finished the Bahrain Grand Prix last time, and now we are running on to the Vietnam Grand Prix. So if you missed last week's, or I guess not last week's, but the last episode from like 2 or 3 weeks ago, make sure you go check it out. This is the third race of the season 1, and we got some R&D points to spend from last time out. Our acclaim is not quite high enough to get unlock the second sponsor yet. You need to be level 5. I'm level 4, but we should be there after this weekend is over. I'm not doubting it. But right now on the R&D chart, we have a up front downforce upgrade coming, a weight reduction upgrade, and a engine power upgrade coming. So now we have 955 R&D points to spend. You can see, we don't have enough to buy 2 upgrades. I was kind of checking that between the durability and the downforce. Since we have level 1 facilities on the downforce, we can develop 2 simultaneously, and I think that's what I'm going to do here. Do the rear downforce upgrade. The 29% failure chance is way lower than the 40 or something it was for durability. So, and plus, always good to get more performance. Durability can come later if we really need to. So we have 2 downforce upgrades, chassis, and a powertrain upgrade coming. I think the only one that's coming in for Vietnam is the front downforce upgrade, but now we got an activity timeline to fill out here. I was kind of debating on what to do, because we only have, I think that's 8 days or 9 days. I'm not sure. But we're going to throw the aerodynamics equipment upgrade in there since we have 2 aerodynamic upgrades coming in. We want to boost team claims, so we are going to throw in that supplier HQ torque because that gave us resource points and a team acclaim boost. And now we only got 3 days left, so we can only do one more thing, and I think we're going to give it to the simulator training, give a boost of experience to our second driver, just to give him a little bit more experience while he's out on the track. Nothing to do now. We can fast forward. You can see we got a few more resource points and the morale boost in the aerodynamic department, and our weekly costs and resource points are coming in at this point. So that means we have just enough now to buy one more upgrade. And I think we're going to do it in the durability compartment because we can't upgrade anywhere else on the R&D chart here. So we are going to just do the MGUK durability upgrade, 40% failure chance. And we are going to move on now. We're going to fast forward. There's a simulator training, and the front wing flaps have failed, unfortunately. So, unfortunately, the only upgrade that were supposed to get for Vietnam has failed. It's a shame, too, because after driving Vietnam, I could say that it is a very front wing heavy circuit. There's lots of long, high speed turns that really benefit from having a better front end. Like the final turn is very, very front heavy, and all the S's, you really want some good downforce on the front end to make it through fine. But we'll get that in for the Chinese Grand Prix, which is also a front end kind of circuit, and we'll just have to deal without it going into Vietnam here, qualifying. It is forecast out, but don't worry, there's no rain. No rain for the race either, so that's something I want to have to deal with going into the first time I've ever raced on this circuit. As you'll see, the third sector here in Vietnam is one of my weakest points on the circuit. I felt I was pretty solid through at least sector 2. Maybe I was pretty decent through sector 1 too, I guess. But sector 3 was just a nightmare for me. We're just going to skip to the end of our first quali lap in Q1 here, and you'll see that we go 139.2. That's good for P3, only 5/10 off Lewis Hamilton. And as we fast forward here, we are going to sit in 6th place, even as the time runs down toward the end of the session. Kind of surprising. I think after all the practice I did, because I was so bad at the circuit, I think I just got way too good at it compared to the AI level, or the AI are just super easy around here. So I'm just going to skip to the end of the session. As you can see, I'm at 95 AI. And yeah, I'm just going to skip to the end, and I'm going to make it through quite easily. Still in 6th place. Antoine Hubert, not so fortunate. He's all the way down in 20th. 141.5, so he's basically over a second off at this point. So I have taken it upon myself to up the AI difficulty. I was going to do it after Bahrain, after the good result we got there, but I was like kind of worried about Vietnam being a new circuit, how good it would go or not. But yeah, here we are in Q2, 100 AI difficulty, so we should be better at this. We should be lower down the grid. As you can see, a big spin out of the penultimate corner. Lewis Hamilton coming up right behind me sets the fastest lap. And now with 25 seconds to go, we are going to use our another set of soft tires. And hopefully we can improve on our P16 and maybe get very close to going Q3, but I severely doubt it. I'm going to show you the whole lap here, since I'll show you where all my flaws are. Turn 1, I was kind of like 50-50 on. Sometimes I'd brake too late. Turn 2 and 3 here, I was really bad at. Really, you just got to get as much onto the power as you can, but if you get in too much, your back end's going to slide out. First DRS zone, aside from the main straight. You're going to brake right before the 100-meter board. Second gear around the corner, and then down the first. You're probably leaving in a second if you're really iffy. Rev up on second gear, but don't shift up, because you want to let off the gas so you can turn in just enough to get a good run out of that corner, because this is the longest straight on the circuit, and then you get DRS halfway through. So this is going to be prime overtaking opportunities for us if we run up behind in the car. You want to brake just after the 100-meter board. Don't hit the curb on the inside or outside, or else you'll lose grip and do a little slide. But going in the third sector, brake at the curb on the left-hand side, which is like halfway between the 150. And now the S sections here. It's very tough to nail this right, because when you go into those right-handers, you can see I locked up a little and went wide. But you want to, on those right-handers, you want to stay very close to the wall, because there's left-handers coming up very quickly. Another big lockup for me. And then this final corner, you want to turn in way earlier than you think. I actually don't turn in early enough, hit the wall, and that's going to be us in P15, unfortunately. Couldn't get a little higher up on the field, but it's very tough to nail that third sector correctly. I definitely did not do that during the qualifying run. I felt like my third sector was better in my first run compared to my last run, except for that slide coming out of the final corner. You can see I am way off Daniel Kvyat, who's a second faster than me. But I heard the AI are really good in the qualifying compared to the race, so hopefully we can maximize our race potential and get a points finish again, even with the newly turned up difficulty.
Welcome along to the Vietnamese capital of Hanoi, a vibrant city built on the banks of the magnificent Red River. Today it's the backdrop for the latest round of the Formula One World Championship, with a circuit specifically designed to encourage overtaking opportunities. I think we could be in for a cracking race today. It's a track that combines the bespoke design of a traditional race circuit with the tight, close barriers of a street track that our drivers race on today. 23 corners and a total distance of 3.4 miles. Watch out in particular for overtaking into the braking zone at turn 11. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Alexander Albon, and Vettel, Sainz, Perez, Ocon, and Lance Stroll, Ricciardo, Norris, Pierre Gasly and Kvyat. Third, Magnussen, Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi. Grosjean, Hubert, Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So here we are on the grid for Vietnam. We are in a kind of a good position. We get to choose our starting tire, but it looks like the best strategy is going to be the soft to the medium tires, actually, even though the default was soft to hard. As long as we can control our tire wear and we can stretch those softs an extra 3 laps compared to the hard tire strategy, we should be able to maintain a faster race strategy with using the medium tires. Obviously, you only used the one set of hards on practice 1, so I'm very more comfortable with the medium tires than I am with the soft, but that's going to be a problem for us later down the Grand Prix. First, we got to worry about the race start here in P15 on the grid, right behind Daniel Kvyat and Pierre Gasly in both of the AlphaTauris. Lights out, and away we go. It's a short run down to the first turn, and we did get a good start, but we kind of bogged down slightly, and we can't make a move on Kvyat or Gasly. They actually make a move on Stroll and Norris, and we're going to make a move on Stroll too. We hop the curve, though, and Stroll gets us back. We touch Norris apparently, and we clatter Stroll, and unfortunately we lose a few positions down to P18 momentarily, up to P17, but unfortunately that's still 2 positions gained, and it looks like Giovinazzi right behind us is going to be all over us going into the next turn at the end of the straight, but we're going to brake later. Grosjean locks up. I don't know what I just said, Grosjean. Luckily no contact between him and Stroll, keeping it very clean, and we get a poor exit out of the long left-hander, and Giovinazzi is going to be all over us once again. We're going to cover the inside, but Giovinazzi backs off a little bit. We have slipstream, no DRS yet on lap 1, and we're just going to try to gain on Grosjean. We brake super early. We actually outbrake him and Stroll. We go flying up. There's yellow flags. A bit of a tap on Kimi Raikkonen there, but luckily we have no front wing damage, and we are back up into our starting position of P15. Stroll and Grosjean still going at it behind us. Who's going to come out on top there? You can kind of see them in the mirrors. They're still side by side going through the left-hander and right-handers of the S's, but it looks like Grosjean has come out on top. We're right behind Kimi in P15. He's in P14. So somebody fell down the order because I feel like Kvyat's up there, and I can't really. I think Gasly's up there too, but that's the whole first lap here. We're gonna skip to lap 4 now. You can see we're still in P15. Lando Norris start to fall down the order because Kvyat and Kimi Raikkonen have gone by him. I think both of the AlphaTauris are ahead, and Raikkonen's got past all 3 of them. If you can look on the mini map there. And we are just gonna try to go through, but there's a safety car coming out, huh? We'll see in just a second what's caused the safety car, but as we go through this corner, you can see Lewis Hamilton is facing a wall on a straight with no escape road. Lewis has been disqualified, and as we go through just a little bit more, if you see at the top, you'll see Valtteri Bottas is also out of the session. Toto Wolff is probably so furious right now. As you can see, Bottas just parked up there at the end of the runoff. And here's the replay of what happened. Lewis is coming around the turn 3. I think that's turn 3 and 4. It's either 2 and 3 or 3 or 4. And he just loses it. He makes a mistake. He loses the front wing, crashes the car into the barrier, and that's going to be him out. He was disqualified for not moving, but it's basically retirement from mechanical failure. And Bottas must have picked up some damage coming through and getting hit with Hamilton because he had to retire just shortly after. And here we come. Safety car. We did not pit. A lot of other people have pit. Albon, we barely beat Albon. He's coming out of the pit lane, so we are actually in P2 right now. Everybody else is pitting on soft tires from soft, so that means they are making 2 stops. So this is a legitimate P2 right now, only behind Raikkonen, who also has not pit. But now we are gonna resume racing as the safety car enters the pit lane. Raikkonen has caught me napping a little bit. He's just gonna drive off into the distance. He's already over a second ahead, but not that it matters, considering that there's no safety car, or not safety car, DRS. For the first 2 laps after a safety car restart, and Albon is all over the back of me. He looks like he's come out very nicely on this safety car. It does help that the 2 cars ahead of him retired, so he got 2 free positions. Basically, everybody got 2 free positions because the Mercedes were in the leads. But here comes Albon on the outside. I'm going to try to brake later than him. He makes contact with me. I'm going to try to squeeze him into the corner, but he's just going to muscle his way through. That's us down to P3. I don't know what I was expecting because, it's a Red Bull. And now Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, which has not been nerfed yet. It still hasn't been nerfed in the game yet, despite the pace of the Ferrari-powered cars being significantly slower. We're somehow keeping him at bay, probably with the slipstream of Albon, kind of doing some weird movements in the braking zone. I don't know exactly what I was doing, but not enough to keep up with Albon in the Honda power, but just enough slipstream to keep us ahead of Leclerc and maintain our podium position here. But going through these S's, Albon is going to start to kind of drive away from us, considering the Red Bull's known for having a lot of downforce, and we are not, because we are a new team. But yeah, you can see he's already broken out the gap over a second and a half. It's going to be nearly 2 seconds as we finish the lap here. You can see Giovinazzi has pitted. I don't know what's happening with him, but he was not ahead of us, so it's not to worry. Here comes Leclerc up the inside, down the pit straight. We're going to try to give him space and go around the outside, but we just take it a little too wide and run onto the curb, and that has let Leclerc get a solid run through turns 2 and 3. And right about now is when the soft tires are going to go off extremely bad. This is lap 9. This is where we would have to pit for the hard tire strategy. But as I said before, we are going for the mediums, and we have to go and pit on lap 12 now. Sebastian Vettel is right behind us. I have almost no grip on these tires. As you can see, I'm losing it a bit. I have to run wide, and I try to give Vettel space, but he has to back out a little bit. But he's going to come back at us with DRS. Sergio Perez is also going to come at us. We're going to dive up super late, lock up the fronts, make contact with Vettel. Perez is also on my inside, and we somehow managed to keep the position from Perez. He's still in the inside, and he gets by. So in a matter of a few corners, thanks to a little slide, I have managed to lose 2 positions going from P3 to P5, but we are going to get DRS here, as it has been 2 laps since the safety car ended. But unfortunately, Perez also does as well, so we will not get any advantage on him, and we are going to have to slot in right behind him for P5. Ocon is right behind us, but hopefully we can just stay in Perez's slipstream, and he can just pull us along. But I don't know if we're going to be able to manage to do that, since I believe they're both on a lot fresher tires than we are. You can see the gap has increased to a second to Perez. And Ocon is hounding us all over. You can see I have almost no tire grip. I'm just sliding all over the curbs here. And unfortunately, we are now 1.5 seconds back to Perez, so that means we are not going to get DRS. But Ocon, who's only 0.5 seconds behind us, is going to get DRS, and he's going to come at us on the pit straight here. We're going to take it to the outside once again, and we're going to try to squeeze him to the corner. Luckily, this time we don't really run onto the curb too much, and we're going to just squeeze him out just enough where he's going to back off, since it's such a hard traction zone around turns 2 and 3. But unfortunately, that's going to mean that he gets DRS down the next straight here. He's going to go down the outside, and he's going to be clearly by us. We're going to try to brake as late as possible. We managed to get alongside him with a Daniel Ricciardo-esque dive bomb. and we managed to take the position back, fortunately. And excuse me, a terrible run out of the corner, but that actually puts Akan off, so that's going to push him way behind us, and he's going to actually be vulnerable to Lance Stroll here, who overtakes him. So I didn't even mean to like slide, but as Stroll comes at us, I didn't mean to slide, but it kind of worked out in my favor as I managed to keep Ocon behind. But unfortunately, Lance Stroll with the Mercedes powered car just way too quick, even way quick with DRS, and manages to take the position Ocon is supposed to have. Lap 12 here. This is the lap that we're going to be pitting on. The tires feel horrendous at this point. Somehow I'm able to keep my pace with Lance Stroll here, but we are losing to him. 1.5 seconds is the gap, almost 2 seconds now. And Sainz, who's come up and overtaken the gap here. Yellow flags up are behind us, actually. Here comes Stroll. Green flags now, so he's free to overtake. He's going out the outside. A big lockup from us. And I just squeeze him out. Kind of a little dangerous move, but I just kind of locked up. These tires are horrible. And he's going to get the move done on this straight because he's only 2/10 behind. And he's going to get DRS and a whole lot of slipstream from me. I don't have a lot of ERS to play with. As you can see, I'm only at like 20% now. Here comes Carlos Sainz up the side, out my inside. I decided to just guard the wall and block Gasly off him, also overtaking us. He had nowhere else to go with Sainz on the other side of him, but now he's going to try to make the move up the inside. Going into the next turn, I go extremely wide, and Gasly decides to smartly back off. There's no need to really fight that, considering I'm pitting this lap. I don't know if he knows that or not, but I would imagine that he does. But here we go into the pit lane. We are going to box for the medium compound of tires, and we are going to drop down the grid. But I believe everybody else still has to pit as well, so they're probably going to be pitting around lap 15, if I imagine. Just had to cough for a second there. Oh boy. Yes, here we go down the pit lane. You can see Latifi is boxing behind us on the medium tires. So I don't know if he was already on the mediums or not, but yeah, he was on the mediums. He's boxing for softs, so he's probably going to go 2 stops as well, because there's no way the mediums last only 13 laps here. And we're going to come out right ahead of George Russell in P17, but you got to remember that we are only 1 stopping. Everybody else on the grid is going to be 2 stopping. So there's a bunch of pit stops to be made, and we are going to recover a few positions in the pit stop. George Russell right behind us, Mercedes power, slipstream and DRS coming on the straight. I think you guys can forecast what's about to happen. He's only 4/10 behind. I really have to have at least nearly a second to keep him behind with DRS. And he's just going to cleanly fly around me on the outside. He's going to dangerously swoop in front of me in the braking zone. Fortunately, no contact was made from that, and that's us down a position. But as we go to the next lap here, you can see in the pit lane there's a bunch of cars boxing, and we are going to be in P14, but it looks like one of the Racing Points and the McLaren have got in front of us, so that's us down to P16 again. But we do manage to overtake Gasly in the pit lane, who's now on medium tires. DRS for us since we're a second behind Russell. Gasly getting a really good run out of the corner, so he was even managing to get alongside me a little bit, but fortunately for us, no position lost yet. We are still in P16. We don't know where everybody else is going to come out in front of us yet, so it's kind of a little uncertain where we're going to be after everybody makes their final pit stops. But here comes George Russell. Here we come at George Russell. We're going to get a little alongside him, go up the outside. He's going to take the inside. obviously. He hops the curb, and that kind of just blocks us off because we have to take to the curb to avoid him. And now Pierre Gasly is going to try to go up my inside and take advantage of that situation, but we are not going to allow him by just cutting him off at the corner by staying alongside him. So now I did not get a good run on Russell despite using a lot of ERS there, so I'm just gonna have to save it. I'm just gonna save up my ERS going through this left-hander, these S's, I guess, and through the next 2 DRS straights, because the only time I'm gonna ever get close enough to Russell to overtake him is on that 3rd DRS straight. More people in the pit lane, a McLaren, Renault. I think that's Red Bull, Max Verstappen. He's gonna come back into this Grand Prix later on. And that's going to be us up into the points paying positions, P10, right behind George Russell, who has yet to pit again. So we are kind of safely in the points positions. And I think Hubert pit, and he is right behind us. I'm not quite sure where he is. You can see on the mini map he's entering the he just got to the end of the DRS straight there, so he's not too far behind us. Maybe he can get some points if he can overtake those cars efficiently. But here we come at George Russell here. Yellow flags up ahead. I was driving. I'm not sure who was in front. Lance Stroll's out of the session. I have to crash into the wall to avoid him. I was looking down to see where the yellow flags were, and we run off. We missed our braking point. We hit the other wall, and safety car is deployed. We're down to P10 now. But obviously, we are going to have to pit to get that front wing changed because I severely broke it trying to avoid crashing into Lance Stroll. And unfortunately for us, we could have easily got like P6 or 7 again with our strategy. But unfortunately now we are going to be relegated to the non-points positions, and we're going to have to make a recovery in the 12 laps that are remaining. Fortunately for us, Grosjean's pitting. Unfortunately though, none of the people behind us are. Actually, there's one person pitting right behind us. I believe that is Max Verstappen if we check the mini-map. No, that's Daniel Kvyat, actually. I do not know him. I know there's Verstappen. I believe he's pitting too, but I know Verstappen is way behind us in this. He's not way behind us, but he's definitely behind us in this race.
Go, go, go. You'll be racing on the
Coming out of the pit lane here, a 7-second stop. Not great, but I mean, we had to change the front wing, so what do you expect? We're going to come out in P14 now. The only saving grace is that there's a safety car out, and that means we're going to close up to the cars in front of us. And hopefully, since they all pit before the safety car came out, we're gonna have fresher tires than they will, and it'll hopefully make these overtakes a little easier. We're up to P13 now. We only have 3 cars to overtake if we want to get points in this race, and one of them is a Williams. So hopefully we can make this work. A bit of dirty air coming through the penultimate corner here. Grosjean luckily didn't get that good of an exit to capitalize on that. I lock up, and we're gonna have to start this long crawl of trying to overtake everybody ahead of me. As you can see, there's like a train. I think everybody's stuck behind the Alfa Romeo of Giovinazzi, I want to say it is. I'm not exactly 100% sure on that, but we're gonna use a lot of ERS here to try to catch up to Russell, who is probably saving his ERS. We had a bunch saved up from the safety car. We're going to try to make the move around the outside once again. This time we're not going to give him space. We're going to force him to take the curb. And that's us up in the position. He's starting to back out. Russell has backed out, and that's also in the P12. You can see that Magnussen is up next, followed by Ricciardo. And then there's a McLaren also ahead of Ricciardo. But we are stuck behind Magnussen now, who is kind of falling away from the pack ahead. And he is very slow through these S's. I don't know what's up with the Haas, if it's the tires or not, but we are just all over him. we're just going to try to go around the outside and dive up a very unconventional overtaking place. He kind of turns into us, but that's going to be job almost done. We're not backing out, going through the penultimate corner, and we're still side by side with Kevin Magnussen. Was I saying Grosjean before because it's Magnussen? Kind of go up the inside, lose the rear end going through that, and I feel like Magnussen collided with us. That was kind of my fault.
Clean passes only. We don't want a penalty.
Yes, we do not want a penalty, Jeff, but that's us up in the P9. And now on lap 25, you can see we are right behind our teammate of Antoine Hubert. And we have kind of put a gap behind us, but unfortunately, the car behind us right now is Max Verstappen, who is looking as fast as ever. He's overtaken all the cars behind us very quickly. But before we have to worry about him, we're going to have to worry about overtaking our teammate here. It shouldn't be too hard. Same car, but I have DRS and slipstream. So hopefully I can make this move. I'm not really gaining too much right now, but I'm going to take up to the outside once again. Kind of what I've been doing this whole race. Squeeze them to the corner because they can't really get good traction if they run over that corner. And that's us up in the P8 right now. And unfortunately, I think Hubert is going to fall into the clutches of Max Verstappen, so he's going to fall down the P10. And Max is going to fall. He's going to close up to us quite quickly. We are on the penultimate lap here, going through Sector 3, and you see Max is only 5 tenths behind. We have a lot of fuel left in the tank from the 2 safety cars. I was not burning as much as I thought I would be during the race, especially after fuel saving during 4 of the 28 laps. And so I have all that to play with. We don't have a lot of ERS to play with, but Max is right behind. So we just gotta focus on getting a good exit out of the straights here, and Max shouldn't be able to overtake us. We're gonna run an ERS overtake mode just a little bit. We're gonna make it a little bit difficult for Max to try to pick his lane. He goes by, but I'm gonna get DRS down the next straight, so I just gotta get a good run out of here and stay right behind Max, and hopefully we can make a move at the end of the long straight. But as you can see, Max is pulled away from us coming out of those turns, and even with DRS, I don't think I'm going to be able to close up quite enough to get that P8 back. We don't have a lot of ERS to play with. We only have 4%. And as you can see, we are right behind Max. 6 tenths separate us. But I think that's it. There's no way I'm going to be able to overtake the Red Bull in its territory of high-speed cornering like I did with the Haas cars. So I think that's going to be us in the P9. Charles Leclerc wins the Vietnam Grand Prix, the inaugural Vietnam Grand Prix. So good for him. And we are going to finish in P9, barring a miracle here from Verstappen crashing out. But yeah, final corner P9. But as we cross the bend here,
Okay, pick up rubber.
it's going to be P8. Max Verstappen must have had a penalty, and we're there to capitalize on it.
Well, they've done a brilliant job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the Vietnam Grand Prix. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
Ferrari are at it again, an excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
So it's a good result for us. P8, as you can see, Max Verstappen got a 5-second time penalty, which dropped him right behind us. He only finished on the road 2 seconds ahead, but so that means he was 3 seconds behind us after the penalty was applied, and we get those 2 points that we thought we lost at the end of the race on the final lap to Max. Unfortunately for Hubert, after he got overtaken by me and Max, he couldn't keep ahead of Daniel Kvyat, and he falls out of the points. So he's gonna have to wait for his first points in F1 for another day. He had a really good race though, coming from P20 up to P11. So can't really fault him. Lots of DNFs. Hamilton, Bottas, Stroll, and Gasly, and Vettel, who had a mechanical failure. Forgot to show that, but as we go to the what is this? The incident thing, you can see Max actually had 2 5-second time penalties. One was unserved, and the other got served in a pit stop. So that's why he was behind us in the first place. 5-second time penalty with Kvyat and severe collision with Stroll. So maybe Russell, Grosjean, and Max Verstappen all hit Stroll when he was spun out, so that's why they all got 5-second time penalties. And then, yeah, lots of penalties handed down in that race. But as we go to the standings, we fall down to P10. We weren't gonna stay up to however far. I don't remember where we were in the last episode, but we weren't gonna stay up there. It's only a matter of time before we fall further down the order, I believe. Sergio Perez and in the Racing Point and Carlos Sainz, they're probably going to overtake us at some point in the standings, but hopefully we can finish in a decently good spot. There's also like a Renault and the other Racing Point behind us, but Hubert's down there. The constructor standings, we fall to P7, 12 points on the map though. Kimi Räikkönen had a really good finish position. If I don't know if I showed again, but if you rewind the video and go see his race result, here it is. He actually finished up in P3 on the podium, and that is going to be a fantastic result for him. I chose Antonio Giovinazzi as my rival, and we are basically neck and neck here. This is the first race that we are rivals. Good thing I didn't choose Raikkonen because he finished way up the order and got a podium. Who would have thought that you got to get a podium with the Alfa Romeo team? But now our team claim is level 5, so we're going to be able to choose another sponsor. And speaking of sponsors, we hit the lap total of 75 laps to get our gold bonus, so we got that, and 90,000 from the race weekend. So we have $2.69 million to spend on a new facility upgrade. So we're going to be able to do that. We already have level 1 on the downforest. We're just gonna rebuy the parts that failed, because also the chassis update failed too. But we already have level 1 on the aerodynamics facility, spec 1. So I really want to go with the chassis upgrade, because right now the engine's important, but we're still getting upgrades from Renault, because we have the Renault engine in there. We're still getting upgrades from them, so I don't really have to focus too much on that. I'd rather get the car feeling like it's nice to handle first before I start working on power upgrades. And I was kind of debating on going with resource point generation, but I figured to really maximize the resource points that we are getting, we're just going to get the upgrade that reduces the it improves the failure reduction chance. It reduces it by 10, if I can talk properly. But next time out, we got the Chinese Grand Prix. We should have 2 upgrades coming in, maybe more if they don't fail. So hopefully we'll get a nice big boost in performance going into China. But that's it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.